Hello everyone, myself Mrs. A.Suvarna, Assistant Professor in the Department of Pharmacology at Nanda Narasimha Reddy Group of Institutions. Subject that we are discussing in this series of videos is human anatomy and physiology, and today we will discuss about connective tissue. So the connective tissue basically it's very abundant, widespread. It is abundant tissue in the body. So these connective tissues are usually separated with each other compared to epithelial tissue, whereas the epithelial tissue they are very closely connected. So the extracellular matrix is very less in epithelial tissue, whereas in connective tissue the extracellular matrix, that is the matrix that is present in between the cells. Extracellular. I mean, just outside the cell, whatever the matrix is there, that is more because here the cells are comparatively loosely connected with each other. That is in the connective tissue, and usually this connective tissue is made up of different types of fibers and different types of cells, different types of cells that are present in connective tissue, which makes the extracellular matrix or the ground substance. They are the fibroblasts, fibrocytes, adipose or the fat cells, plasma cells, mast cells, macrophages, leukocytes, pigment cells, mesenchymal cells, and different fibers that are present in connective tissue are collagen fibers, elastic fibers, and reticular fibers. So different types of cells make up this connective tissue. Different types of fibers and cells together, they make up the connective tissue. So depending on what type of cells and what type of fibers are present, quantity of that, depending on that, these all are again classified in a different sub-classification of this connective tissue takes place. So basically this connective tissue, as I said, it's a widespread, abundant, diverse tissue of our body. So the main components of this connective tissue is the cells which we discussed just before, protein fibers it has, and it has a ground substance. Ground substance that I said that it's an extracellular matrix which is produced by the connective tissue cells. These cells produce that extracellular matrix, whatever the ground substance that we call. So this ground substance that can be very solid like bone, or that can be very semi-solid like toothpaste, and it can be viscous like honey also. So any of these type of ground substance may be present extracellularly, in which the cells and the proteins are suspended. So the protein fibers and ground substances together, they make the matrix, in which the cells are suspended in that. So depending on what type of ground substance is present, what type of cells are present, the connective tissues are classified again. So coming to the functions of these connective tissue in general, basically they give the protection because the bone is a connective tissue. So the skull in which the brain is enclosed, so it gives protection to the bone. A brain that has a skull and as a complete skeletal structure is there. This is a connective tissue. Bone is a connective tissue. That's it gives a support to the body. It makes a framework, and then it gives a support to the body, and then it also gives a connection and binding because the tendons which connects muscle to bone, and then ligaments which connects bone to bone. So these are the connective tissues, tendons and ligaments which connects the bone to bone and the bone to muscle. So that's why they are the connectors and the binders, and then they act as a storages also, because they store the minerals, like from the nutrients they store the calcium, phosphorus in the bone. That's why the storage houses for some of the minerals like calcium and phosphorus. And then they also help in the transportation, because blood is a connective tissue. So blood supplies the different gaseous like oxygen and carbon dioxide and some nutrients and waste materials. All these things are exchanged or transported throughout our body because blood is a connective tissue. And as they all have the different immune cells in them, different connective tissues have the immune cells in them. That's why they help in immunity, or they help in defense mechanism. They help in invading the invaders. They kill the invaders. That's how they help in immune function also. And coming to the types of different connective tissues, it is classified as the connective tissue proper, supporting connective tissue, and a fluid connective tissue. Again, the proper and the supporting and the fluid connective tissues are again subclassified into loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, cartilage, bone, blood, and lymph. And then again the loose connective tissue is subclassified again as a areolar, adipose, and reticular tissue, whereas the dense connective tissue again is subclassified as regular, irregular, elastic, and then the cartilage bone is again hyaline cartilage and fibrocartilage, elastic cartilage. Whereas the bone have got two types of bones, that is the compact bone and the spongy bone, and the fluid connective tissues are the blood and the lymph. So all these tissues we will discuss one by one. The first one is the loose areolar connective tissue. Okay, so this is maximum most generalized type of connective tissue, that is the loose areolar connective tissue, and the matrix, that is the extracellular matrix, or you can call it as the ground substance, that is semi-solid here. Okay, remember matrix is semi-solid here with many fibroblasts are there, and some fat cells are present in this areolar tissue, that is they are also called as adipocytes, and along with these two they have mast cells, macrophages, which are widely separated by elastic and collagen fibers. So altogether what these have is that they have fibroblasts and some cells which are separated by, they have got a elastic fibers and the collagen fibers, that is the areolar connective tissue. So where they are found actually, so these areolar connective tissue are found almost throughout your body. They provide the elasticity and tensile strength to the body. Okay, so they help in connecting and supporting the tissues, because they usually where they are present is under the skin, just below the skin they are present, and they are present in between the muscles, and they also present just attached to the blood vessels. So they support the blood vessels and the nerves also, and in the alimentary canal and in the glands also. So all these places where we have mentioned, so they give the support and they make the connectivity with the others. So majorly they support the underlying organs. Okay, so that is the areolar tissue, what we discussed just now, that they have both the things, that is the fibers, elastic fibers are there, and collagen fibers are there. Both the things are there, and the cells that are abundantly present are the fibroblasts, which produces the cells or the components for the viscous ground substance to prepare, and usually they have a very good supply of blood. Okay, they are usually, as we said, they surrounds many organs, as even the blood vessel, they surround nerves, they surround, and they binds to the, and they also just present beneath the skin, and they help in the connection and the support. Okay, then coming to the adipose tissue. Adipose means, remember, that is the fat cells. Okay, fat. So it contains large fat globules in a matrix. The major thing adipose means, it's a fat cell. Okay, in adipose tissue again you have two types. One is white adipose tissue and the other one is brown adipose tissue. The white adipose tissue, it is usually present in very obese people, and it's not there in very thin people. Underweight people, they won't be having much of white adipose tissue, because white adipose tissue, what it does mean is that it stores the energy. Actually, it stores the energy, and it usually present in between the muscle fibers, and it is under the skin. Okay, so it acts as a thermal insulator or an energy store. It stores the energy, and it also acts as a thermal insulator to the body. And usually the sites where the adipose tissue, white adipose tissue is present is just a deeper layer of the skin, and buttocks and breast, and around the kidneys it is present, white adipose tissue. Then coming to the brown adipose tissue. Usually this brown adipose tissue is present only in the infants or the newborn children only, and it has more capillary work, that is the blood supply is more in compared to white adipose tissue. Brown adipose tissue has got more blood supply, so the capillary network is more there. Usually these brown adipose tissue produces less energy, but they help in generating heat. I mean, thermal, they help in, that's why they maintain, they help more in maintaining the body temperature. That is the brown adipose tissues. Okay, so this is the adipose tissue wherein you will find the adipocytes, that is the fat cells. Okay, so these fat cells have got the fat droplets in them. So these fat droplets, they push the nucleus to the periphery. Usually nucleus should be at the center. Okay, because of these droplets, fat filled droplets, they push the nucleus to the periphery. That's why the nucleus in adipose tissue is at the periphery, and they because it is enlarged because of the fat droplets. Even the matrix, extracellular matrix present is also comparatively very less in the adipose tissue. Okay, so as we already discussed, they have a very good supply of blood and they store energy, they insulate the organs, and they act as a cushions. Okay, they act as a cushions that they insulate the organs. That is the adipose tissues. Now coming to the third one in that is the lymphoid. Reticular tissue is also called as a lymphoid tissue. So this lymphoid tissue has got a semi-solid matrix in them. Okay, and then they have got a fine branching reticulum fibers. The reticulum fibers are there, and then the semi-solid matrix is there in them, and it contains the reticular cells. Okay, the cells present in this is reticular cells and white blood cells. Two types of cells are present, and usually they are found in the lymph nodes or the lymphatic system. They are found. That's the reason the name lymphoid tissue. Okay, they are found in lymph or lymphatic system, reticular tissue. Okay, so this is the reticular tissue wherein you find the reticulin fibers. They are like net, like they are spread into the tissue. Okay, and then we have a very viscous ground substance there, and the cells that are present are called as the reticular cells. So as the reticulin fibers are spread like a network or net, they give the framework or the supportive framework to the tissue. Now coming to the dense connective tissue. We just studied the loose connective tissue. Now we will see what is dense connective tissue. Dense connective tissue, majorly they have more collagen fiber and very less cells. Whereas in loose connective tissue, they'll have more cells and less collagen fibers. Here they have more collagen fibers and fewer cells compared to the loose connective tissue. Okay, that is the difference. Now in that dense connective tissue, the regular one, the regular dense connective tissue, they have the collagen fibers wave-like, irregularly they have connected, and they have got a fibroblast nucleus and a very less amount of ground substances present here. And these regular dense connective tissues are not very well supplied with the blood. Blood vessels are not much there. That's why the supply of blood is less. That's the reason the healing process in these tissues is delayed. It takes a long time to heal. So it is usually found in the tendons and the ligaments. We just discussed tendons and the ligaments, which connects bone to muscle and bone to bone. Okay, so there the blood supply is too less. That's why they take more time to heal. Then coming to the irregular dense connective tissue. Irregular dense connective tissue has got the irregular collagen fibers. Okay, they are not regular, and again they have got a fibroblast nucleus as well, and the ground substance is also present in them. And compared to the regular one, these irregular connective tissue, they have got a very good blood supply, so they can handle any sort of stress. The healing process is faster in these cases. That's why they can handle stress. Usually they are found in the skin and covering the bone. Okay, so next one, coming to the elastic tissue. Elastic tissue, which is capable of consider as the elastic, the word itself indicates it can extend and it can recoil. Okay, so the extension and recoil flexibility is more. So it mainly consists of the masses of elastic fibers which are secreted by the fibroblast. Okay, so the sites wherein usually it is found is that the blood vessel walls and the trachea and bronchia and lungs it is present, elastic fibers. So elastic tissue, again they are wave-like fibers are present. So wavy fibers with the fibroblast as their cells, and comparatively with more of ground substances present. Usually they are found in trachea, vocal cords, and some artery walls, that is the blood vessels they are present into. Now coming to the cartilages. So cartilages are spread very thinly, and they are embedded in the matrix. In the matrix they are spread evenly. Okay, and they are strengthened by the collagen and elastic fibers. So the cartilages are spread throughout the matrix, and they are strengthened by the supported by collagen and the elastic fibers. So in that again we have the different types. That is, one is the hyaline cartilage. Okay, hyaline cartilage, wherein you will have the smooth bluish white tissue. Smooth bluish white tissue you will find, and the cells that are present there are the chondrocytes. Chondrocytes are arranged in small groups like 1, 2, 3, 4, like these small groups which are present in the cell nest. Okay, they are suspended in the cell nest. Group of chondrocytes, which are the cells of hyaline cartilage, they are suspended in a cell nest, and the matrix that is present here is solid. Okay, solid ground substance or the extracellular matrix is present here. So the functions of hyaline cartilage are, it provides flexibility, it supports, and it supports the smooth surface of the, and it supports the movement of the joints. It is usually present just above the bone. It caps the bone. Okay, that's why it helps in the movement of the joint. Like at the end of the long bone, usually this hyaline cartilage is present. Like at the synovial joint, at the knee, it is present. So it helps in the smooth movement of the joints, any joints. So usually it is the site where it is found is that at the ends of the long bones, and it forming the parts of larynx, trachea, and bronchi. Okay, where this hyaline cartilage is found. So this is the hyaline cartilage, which has got the chondrocytes, okay, which is present in the lacunae. The area they are covering, that is called as the lacunae, in which the chondrocyte cells are present. Okay, they have got this ground substance, that is the matrix. They are poorly supplied with the blood. Supply is not much in them, because you remember, whenever there is no blood supply, that's why the healing process will be delayed there. So slow healing is there in them, and then they are usually present at the end of the bones. That's what they give the caps the bone, and then they are found in the nose also, in respiratory passage also. That is the hyaline cartilage. Next comes the fibrocartilage. These are dense masses of white collagen fiber. There it was blue, and now here it is a dense masses of white collagen fibers. These are the white collagen fibers. Here also the chondrocytes are present. The cells are chondrocytes, and the comparatively hyaline cartilage widely dispersed they are. And then these fibrocartilages are tough, slightly flexible, and they are supporting tissues usually. So where they are present, actually they pass between the intervertebral disc, that is the vertebral column we have. Okay, that is the through which the spinal cord passes, the backbone, you can say, the complete vertebral column, the whatever the bones are attached to it. This fibrocartilage is present in between those bones. So it is intervertebral disc, it pads up. Okay, so it is also present in the pubic bones. In between the pubic bones it is present. So that is the fibrocartilage, wherein again you find the wavy collagen fibers. Lacunae you will find, and then the chondrocytes also you will find. Chondrocytes in the lacunae, the space that are occupying, that's called as the lacunae. Okay, again they have the fibrocartilages. So now coming to the elastic cartilage, again it is it contains the large amount of elastin fibers in the chondrine. Okay, elastin fibers are present. These are the chondrine, or the cells of the connective tissue. These cells, so that will be covered by the elastic fibers. So large amount of elastic fibers are present here. That's why it is an elastic fibrocartilage. So this elastic fibrocartilage is highly flexible, and the sites where it is present is the pinna. This is the pinna, or the ear lobe it is called as, and it is present in the epiglottis also, which prevent the food from entering the trachea. Okay. So next comes the elastic connective tissue, wherein again you will have a scattered elastic fibers. Okay, again the cells are chondrocytes here, and the which are present in the lacunae, and then the elastics, that's what elastic fibers are present. These fibers are scattered everywhere. That's they are very flexible. Again, as I said, it is found in the earlobe, or the pinna it is called as, and it's found in the epiglottis. Now coming to the another type of connective tissue, that is the bone. Bone have got two shafts, or the diaphysis. That is, one is the diaphysis, which is composed of compact bone with central medullary canal, okay, which contains a fatty yellow bone marrow in it. One is diaphysis, the other one is epiphysis. Diaphysis has got the compact bone. Compact bone is in diaphysis, which has got a central medullary canal, which contains the yellow bone marrow in them. Fatty yellow bone marrow is there in diaphysis. Whereas another part of bone is epiphysis, which contains the, which is the outer covering of the compact bone. It has got a spongy bone. Spongy bone is also called as a cancellous bones. Okay, in epiphysis, spongy bone is there, whereas in diaphysis, compact bone is there. Two types of bones are there that we will discuss now. So the bone has got two types, compact and spongy. So these are less flexible, they are rich, blood supply is good with them, and the main function of them is they provide the support and the function. Okay, so this is the extracellular matrix, and then the cells of bone are called as the osteocytes. Okay, so these osteocytes occupying the place that is called as lacunae. So this is the bone. In that we will study compact and spongy. So the compact is, this one is the compact bone, in which you have the central canal, which is innervated with the nerves and the blood vessels. They have got the osteons here, and then the extracellular matrix is present. That is a compact bone. Okay, and then you have the spongy bone. Okay, it's also called spongy bone. Compared to compact bone, it is lighter. Okay, it is tougher, of course it is tougher, but it is very light. It's very light, and then it's also called as a, like, just cancellous bone. Okay, this is specially present in the epiphysis. Cancellous bone, which is a spongy bone, present in the epiphysis. So this is about the spongy bone. Now we will study the fluid connective tissues. Okay, so the as the name itself indicates, that is liquid or the fluid in nature. Okay, two types of fluid connective tissues are there. Okay, they are blood and lymph. In them different types of cells are present which perform different types of functions. So the different fluid connective tissues are, one is blood and the other one is lymph. Okay, so the blood has got a different cells suspended in the plasma. Different cells that are present in the blood connective tissue is red RBCs. They are called as red blood cells, white blood cells, WBCs, and then they have got the platelets and plasma. Okay, so the red blood cells, they supply the nutrition, exchange the oxygen, carries the nutrition, and then they have got the hemoglobin in them. And then the white blood cells, they perform the immune defense mechanism. They perform. Platelets help in the clotting of the blood, and plasma has got some nutrients, and then they supply the hormones, nutrients on all together. That is the function of blood, which is a connective tissue. And another connective tissue, that is the lymph. Okay, so lymph is lymph has got a white blood cells in them and the fat molecules in them. So these fat molecules and white blood cells, again the white blood cells usually have the defense mechanism. They are supplied throughout our body through the lymphatic system, that is through the lymph. All these two will be carried to the places where they are required. So this is about the fluid connective tissue. So all together we have discussed about the connective tissue, their classification, function, location and structure. Okay, so the reference books for this is again the Tortora, and then Ross and Wilson, and then the Sembulingam Essentials of Medical Physiology. So you can refer any of these. Thanks for watching this.